Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Jimmy Dore Show. I'm here with Ron Placone and the Miserable Liberal.
Howdy, howdy.
I'm miserable.
Yay. So, you know the critique of the Democratic Party since 1992 has been that the Democratic Party, under the tutelage of Bill Clinton and Al Gore, decided to get in bed with the Koch brothers, decided to turn their back on workers, African Americans, and the usual base of the Democratic Party. And what happens when both parties represent management is we get Donald Trump because people are desperate and want to smash the system. What also happens when the Democrats become the party of Wall Street, military-industrial complex, big pharma, and fossil fuel companies is that now we have the biggest income disparity since the medieval times. That's what's happening in America right now. Unbelievable. 30 million people still don't have health care. 63% of Americans can't afford a $1,000 emergency. 50% of Americans are poor or low income. And 50% of all wage earners earn less than $30,000 in the United States. The richest country in the world renders a quarter of its kids in poverty. Half the country poor or low income. What do you call a system that takes the richest country in the world and does that? You call that a failed freaking system. And the Democrats did it voluntarily. So Bill Clinton deregulated Wall Street, which made an economic crash inevitable, and it happened within a decade after he deregulated Wall Street. Got rid of FDR's banking regulations. At the same time, he gutted welfare, called black kids super predators, exploded the prison population, and passed NAFTA, which cut the legs off from underneath the unions in America. And consequently, George Bush won the election in 2000, and Barack Obama won, and then the Democrats got wiped out at every level of government. To the point where now they ran another neoliberal who was promising more screwing of the working class. TPP, Barack Obama was trying to pass the TPP at the same time. Hillary Clinton was trying to get working class people to vote for her. That was the dumbest thing in the history of politics. They did it, and they lost to a political novice. Donald Trump. And then they blamed another country instead of themselves. So we all know that's the problem with the Democratic Party, that the Democratic Party then became the party of war. They are the party of war. They are the party of Wall Street. They are the party of big pharma, big insurance, and fossil fuels. Barack Obama opened up the Arctic to drilling twice. And the reason why we have pipelines underneath this country is because Barack Obama repealed the legislation that said you couldn't export fossil fuels. Barack Obama. This is the Democratic's failure. The reason why we're in the situation we are in is because the Democratic Party is no longer an opposition party. They are the party of war and military-industrial complex and Wall Street. It's over. And that's why the country's in shambles. And that's why we're spending $700 billion a year on a military while 30 million people still don't have health care in America. And we're swimming in mountains of school debt. So that's where we're at. That's the critique of the Democratic Party. It has failed. And a lot of people have said this critique right to Barack Obama's face. Like, here's Harry Belafonte. He's quoting Martin Luther King. Here he is quoting Martin Luther King.
The last thing Dr. King said to me before he was murdered, Martin said, I sit here deeply concerned that I suspect we're leading our nation on an integration trip that has us integrating into a burning house. Most of the politicians I know of make promises only to walk into the places of power and then deny us. I guess part of the reason I'm here is to really look through the ravages of the Democratic Party and see if anything is really worth salvaging.
He said that right in Barack Obama.